Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another match review. This is Chelsea to Nottingham Forest 2. And in this match review, as with every match review, I'm going to be taking a look at the starting 11, goal analysis, just overall thoughts about the game, where Chelsea kind of go for the rest of the season. And yeah, I'm kind of here because my dog is I have to keep an eye on him. So if something happens with him, you'll know why. But yeah, make sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments about the performance as well. At this point, I think that Chelsea are basically just trying. Oh, sorry, guys. Personally, I can't wait to have a fresh start at the beginning of the season over the summer as well. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, comments, please put them in the chat. So I'm going to share my screen as I always do, and let's take a look at Sofa Score. So first I wanted to take a look at the starting 11, and of course the big talking point in this match was Edouard Mendy made his first appearance for Chelsea in goal since November versus Newcastle, was rated a 5.4. What do you guys think of this rating? First of all, do you think that it makes sense? And personally, I don't know if I was necessarily surprised. I feel like it's kind of a lose-lose situation because Kepa wasn't putting in the best performances, so everybody was saying, okay, give Edouard Mendy a chance, like Kepa should be benched, and let's see what Mendy can do. And then Mendy hasn't played in 6 months for Chelsea. He's kind of thrown in goal. And then, of course, he doesn't put in a great performance. I think that he could have done a lot better. And I'll talk about that in the goal analysis. But then everybody's saying, like, oh, you should have played Kepa. Kepa is the much better player. So I think at the end of the day, what this really highlights for Chelsea is the need for a goalkeeper this summer. I'm not really sure where we're going to be looking. I know that we were linked with Onana. But other than that, I haven't seen any other names for Chelsea links for goalkeepers. But I think that it highlights that both Mendy and Kepa, while they had really good moments for Chelsea, and Mendy's kind of like decline in form is honestly super surprising for me, because when we won the Champions League, I thought that he was one of the best keepers in the world. I thought that he was making world-class saves and really keeping us in games, and I thought that he was going to be at Chelsea for the long term. But I don't know what's happened with him, that his form has just declined all of a sudden. And so I think that we really do need to be looking to get a goalkeeper in for next season. And then maybe you can promote like Gabriel Slonina, who is US men's national team player, maybe promote him to the second spot. Do you think Chelsea are going to have a hard time offboarding both Mendy and Kepa? Like, I would honestly be surprised if we see the two of them leave next season. I think it would probably be one and then the other, especially Kepa with the wages that he's on, finding a club that are going to essentially pay that. He's on a long-term contract, unless he's willing to take a pay cut to guarantee game time. Those are politics that I can't speak to, but that was super interesting. If you guys hear the dogs outside, please let me know and I'll close the window. um, then we stick with a back four. The back four wasn't all that surprising to me because we have a center back partnership of Benoit Badiashile and Thiago Silva. I thought that that made sense. Then you have Trevor Chalobah. Reece James is out injured, so Trevor's coming in. Obviously, now he's been selected ahead of Azpilicueta in that role. And honestly, given the recent performances that we've seen from Aspi, I do think that it makes sense that Trevor can play in that role. And he really reminds me a lot to Nacho from Real Madrid, just like can really play anywhere across the back line, which I think is super interesting and useful for him that he's so versatile. And then Lewis Hall, big talking point as well, of course, with Cucurella and Ben Chua out injured. Lewis Hall came in, and I saw a lot of people calling for him to start ahead of this match because of the injuries and to be given a chance. And so I was happy to see his name in the starting 11. So really, I think if you're going to go for a back four, I'm still not completely convinced on the back four, but if you're going to go for it, I think that it makes sense given the injuries that Chelsea have. Then midfield, you might be asking, why is N'Golo Kante not in the midfield? Apparently, he's picked up yet another injury in training yesterday. He can't stay fit, and this just highlights the need for Chelsea to have to get a DM in the summer, because you really cannot rely on N'Golo Kante to play more than a couple of games, and then he's going to get injured again. So we really need to be looking for somebody who can play it week in, week out. Oh, okay, I thought that he jumps. So we see Enzo Fernandez start. I was fully expecting this. This makes sense. Conor Gallagher as well has been starting a lot under Frank Lampard. And I do love the energy that Conor Gallagher offers to Chelsea. I don't understand starting Mateo Kovacic. Personally, I've seen a lot of rumors, and obviously they could just be rumors. I don't know. This is speculation, but it does seem like he's going to move on from Chelsea at the end of the summer. So for me personally, I would prefer to see those minutes given to somebody who we know is going to be at Chelsea next season, or at least is fighting for a place to be at Chelsea next season. So I probably wouldn't have started Mateo Kovacic, and I would have maybe started Ruben Loftus-Cheek instead of Mateo Kovacic in this instance. And then you have the front three of Raheem Sterling, Joao Felix, and Noni Madueke. So I was super, super happy to see Madueke get another start. And then I honestly was just like, what does Mykhailo Mudryk need to do to get into the team? Like, you know that he's going to be here next season. He can use his pace. Why not just give him a couple of games to try to get accustomed to the pace and physicality of the Premier League? I honestly was like surprised that Raheem Sterling was starting, because I don't think that he had put in such good performances up until really his cameo versus Bournemouth. So I was like, oh, he's just made a cameo, now he's starting. Like, I was surprised about that. But I felt that he and Joao Felix had think-up play in that game. So I was like, maybe I can kind of understand where Frank is going with this. You also paid a lot of money for Joao Felix to come on loan. But I was like, where is Mudryk? So I, ahead of the game, I was thinking, oh, why isn't Mudryk starting ahead of Joao Felix or Raheem Sterling? So kind of taking a look at the values here, Chelsea had an expected goals of 1.14 and Forest had an expected goals of 1.63. So Forest a lot higher in terms of expected goals. I honestly couldn't believe that Raheem Sterling scored two. Like, it was like super golazo. 76% possession by Chelsea, 14 shots to Forest's 11, 6 shots on target to their 2. They did have 7 shots off target. They had more corners than us as well. They had 3 big chances, 1 big chance miss, where we have 1 big chance, 1 big chance miss. And if you just look at the goals prevented, like, this just tells you that Mendy should have done better in goal, negative 1.61. So taking a look now at the Premier League table, I'm honestly just super happy that we can't get relegated. So there's no more talk of that. There's no more questions about that. So that's amazing for us, but I do think that we're going to finish in the bottom. I mean, I didn't realize that the gap between 10th and 11th was so massive, 7 points with 3 games left to play. So Chelsea definitely are looking like they're having a bottom half finish of the Premier League table, which is just shocking. And of course, the fixtures that we have left, Man City, Man United, Newcastle, like, none of them easy fixtures, all top 4 teams. And I don't think we've won. I don't even know if we've drawn against a team in the top 6 this season. And with these results, Southampton is confirmed to be relegated from the Premier League. So what did I make about the goals? Just remove this here. For Force's first goal, Awanini, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right. Awoniyi was head and shoulders above the rest of the defenders. I thought that Mateo Kovacic lost the ball in midfield, and he's just been looking like a little bit, what's the word that I'm looking for? Like casual, a little bit relaxed in how he's been approaching the games. He was head and shoulders above Badiashile and Thiago Silva. Like you could tell that he was just fighting for the ball. And then what was Mendy doing for that first goal? He came out to try to punch it away, completely missed it. And if you're going to do that, you have to be 100% sure. I think that that just kind of showed how rusty he was in terms of decision making. Sorry, it's my dog. He got neutered yesterday, so he has a little cone around his head and he's struggling. Archie. Okay. So first off, Forest go 1-0 up, and at this point I was thinking like if people were talking about my dog, yeah. Sorry guys. Yeah, I knew that he was gonna make some noise. He's like so depressed that he has the cone on, but otherwise he like is licking his wound, so he has to wear it unless I can keep my eyes on him at all times. So as soon as we conceded, I was thinking like, not again. Don't want to concede again. Like, what are we doing? And where the goal's going to come from. And I really didn't see much in the first half. Sterling had a chance around 17 minutes and he fluffed the shot. It was a really good block by Forest. And then Joao Felix had a good header on the ball, but that was saved as well. So Chelsea had a couple of these opportunities. We had the majority of the possession, but overall, I didn't feel that we were necessarily doing so much with it. Then out comes the second half, no changes by Frank Lampard, and it was a really great cross by Trevor. Apparently, the cross was deflected a bit by Nottingham Forest because I was looking at fantasy like FPL. So apparently it was deflected a bit, but still great from Sterling to get on the end of that finally. Like, I love when we have attackers in the box because I feel like so many times we're putting those types of balls into the box and there's just nobody there. So it was really nice to finally see somebody inside of the box. And then a couple of minutes later, it was just like a pretty crazy goal by Raheem Sterling, how he had the control, found the back of the net. I was like, I truly am shocked that we've scored right now, but it didn't last for long because Forest equalized, and we had yet another goal conceded by set pieces. Like, if anybody has that stat, I would absolutely love to see it. How many goals Chelsea have conceded from set pieces? So far this season, because I feel like we're up there for the most goals conceded. We just look so sloppy on set pieces. Don't understand the zonal marking because it just allows so many gaps, and we're constantly bitten week in, week out from set piece defending 2-2. And after that, I really didn't think that Chelsea looked like going for the win, going for another goal. At the end of the day, I think like the goals really came from like a good passage of play and then a really good goal by Raheem Sterling. But I didn't see anybody else really stepping up to be the difference maker in that game. I'll just take a look at like who was subbed on for a sec. Callum wasn't even subbed on. That's shocking. Only made 3 subs in this game. Ruben Loftus-Cheek came on for Kovacic, who obviously went off injured right before halftime. And then at 73 minutes, Kai Havertz and Hakim Ziyech came in for Felix and Madueke. Pretty like for like swap, in my opinion. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems like Chelsea kind of knew, like, okay, I don't know. I just didn't feel that we were trying, didn't feel that we were going to try to get anything out of this game. It's super frustrating. What can you say? But I'm not expecting I should say I'm not expecting, like, I would expect more from this Chelsea side, but given where we are and given that there's nothing else to play for, I think that the team's kind of just like, let's just end the season now. And so we're not really seeing the fight that we want to see. At least we're safe. Hopefully we can just chalk it up next season and start again and have like a really good summer. But I don't think that there's like so much more worth analyzing in this game, to be honest, because I don't know, like it's gonna be a new season in a couple of weeks. So um I would love to know your thoughts about it. Jacob says, why bring on ZH? Yeah, I say this as well. I sound like a broken record saying this on the channel. Like, I was super excited about the signing of Hakeem Ziyech, but I just don't feel that he's been consistent enough for Chelsea. Obviously, he's not even starting games now, but he was meant to be a PSG. I think he's for sure one of the ones that's going to leave Chelsea this season. Obviously, I haven't seen any links or anything like that, but if I were just to like hy- hy- hypothesize or guess based off of the fact that he was meant to leave on loan. He hasn't been getting consistent minutes at Chelsea. We have a surplus of attackers. He's not one of the ones that starts regularly, nor is on a long-term contract. I would think that Hakeem Ziyech leaves at the end of the season. I just don't think that his performances have really been worthy of him getting the nod over, I don't know, like Mykhailo Mudryk, for example, or even a Fofana to give him some minutes. Like, those are the two that I would be looking at. Even Christian Pulisic, like, I don't know if he's going to leave. I think he's probably going to try to leave this season, but he's one that I'm really not too sure of. Yeah, it's so funny because like when we're scoring goals, like now we've scored 5 goals in 2 games, which is insane. We haven't done that. But we've also conceded 3 goals in those 2 games. So it's like now we're scoring goals, but we can't not concede goals. And before we were like kind of doing better defensively, but we weren't scoring goals. I think that talks a lot to like the shape that Chelsea are playing. Like when we were playing in the back four now, where the attackers are maybe more in a natural position for them, so they're scoring more. But we're more open at the back. But if we play a back five slash back three slash back five, we have more defensive coverage, so we're not conceding as much, but it impedes the attack. So that's kind of the conundrum I think that Chelsea have had for a couple of seasons now, and we kind of found that Thomas Tuchel was able to make it work, but even towards the end of his tenure, Chelsea were really struggling to score goals as well. So it's definitely not anything new. Michelle says, I'm just waiting for next season now under Mauricio Pochettino. Yeah, me too. I think that he's probably not going to get announced until the end of the season, just to have it like completely cut, dry, different. Like, okay, season's over, we announce Poch, then we move forward from this. But I'm excited to see what he does because I think he has a lot of hopefully really great ideas. Hopefully he's going to be able to make the line between who should stay at Chelsea, who should be sold. I really hope that he is like a key driver in keeping Mason Mount, because I think it would be a massive mistake to sell Mason Mount and buy Joao Felix, because I think Mason Mount is overall the better player. Joao Felix does some really beautiful things. He has some really great technique. But in terms of end product, I think that Mason Mount is stronger. And I know Mace has not had the best season this season. You don't have to tell me that. But if I'm comparing the two players as a whole over the past 3 years, I do think that Mason is the more well-rounded player. So I think that it would be a mistake to spend like 80 to 100 million on Joao Felix and then sell Mason. I think we do still have a set piece coach. Like, I'm pretty, wasn't it Anthony Berry? Am I making that up? I could be lying. I don't know. Let me look it up. Anthony Berry. I thought that it was Anthony Berry. Oh no, he went to Bayern Munich. Oh, so maybe not. Maybe we don't have him anymore. Well, we don't have him anymore. So maybe we don't have a set piece coach anymore. Completely missed that piece of news, to be honest with you. I thought that they were like trying to take him, but they're like trying to be respectful about it. So I didn't think that he had gone just yet. Um, Garthik says, think Manueke is a good player, but he needs to stop overdoing his tricks. Chalba going ahead was great. Also, Ruben had a good game here. Would have, like I said, would have loved to see Ruben start ahead of Kovacic. And I think Manueke, he's just so young. He's only 21. So I do think that he's going to get better and be able to make like better decisions going forward because he has that power and dribbling ability. Like we've really missed somebody who dribbles as he does and can really glide past players. Um, but I think that he's still super raw, and it's really exciting to think that he's only going to get better because I think that he's like a very nice, raw, unfinished product at the moment. But as soon as he learns how to kind of get his head up, how to make decisions, when to cross, when to cut the ball back, when to like dribble past a player, all of those things. And I think that Poch is going to be really, really good at helping him with that because look how he transformed Heung-min Son at Spurs. So I really think that like Modric and Madueke could hugely, hugely benefit from somebody like Poch coming into Chelsea. Um, I think Aubameyang is like 100% leaving. Like I don't have any record of this. I don't have any sources, nothing. I would just be after the season that he's had with Chelsea. I would just be shocked if he stayed at Chelsea this season. I think he's looking for a way out. And I think I saw some video. I don't know if it was on TikTok or Twitter that somebody like interviewed him or read into him. They're like, "Oh, what are you thinking of doing?" And he was like, "Oh, I want to return to Barcelona," and that was a couple of weeks ago. Um, so I really don't think that he's playing. Diego says our players tried too hard today to win a penalty rather than create shoot. Yeah, I think that that just shows like when the desperation kicks in a little bit when you really really want a goal and it's kind of not working for you. Saw that first for Leeds versus Newcastle as well. Same thing. Like they were kind of going down because they wanted to win that penalty. So it's not like so surprising to me, to be honest. Obviously you would love for them to be able to create, but I just feel like there's been so many changes. I have no idea what the starting 11 is going to be week in, week out. I just have kept on my FPL team, and even that position isn't safe. And we're constantly changing from a back five to a back four. The defense is changing every week. The midfield is changing every week. The attack is changing every week. So, how do you know, like, who your best players are and how do you allow them to build chemistry and understanding with one another because you're constantly chopping and changing who you have next to you. So I think like that is also something that's not spoken about so much, like how Chelsea can go ahead and get chemistry. And obviously, if you're always having different players on the pitch, like we're going to struggle to create, we're going to struggle um, to score goals. And so maybe we resort to, trying to get a penalty. Um, so so yeah, Terry says Lampard subs are terrible. Use Mudryk and not CH. Lampard never takes accountability. He thinks he's better than he actually is. I don't know about this. Like I wouldn't necessarily go that far. Like he's coming to Chelsea at like a truly dire time for the club, and he really wants to help Chelsea. Like he's not really getting much out of this. Like potentially what he could get was upping his stock as a manager a bit after getting fired from Everton. Which I don't think necessarily has happened, but it's not like it was like this massive opportunity for him. Like I think he's honestly just doing it because he sees the club in a difficult time and he loves the club. So I can definitely appreciate like the loyalty there to the club. And of course I've said like I don't understand Mudryk not playing. I don't understand him not starting, let alone not even being subbed on. I don't know why Ziyech has been chosen ahead of him to be subbed on. I don't think that that makes sense at all. But I think next season, once we trim the squad, there's going to be a lot of these players that we're seeing kind of get these opportunities that I don't think are necessarily going to be at Chelsea next season. So really for me, it's all about trimming the squad this summer and getting at least a goalkeeper and a DM. Like those are the top two. I've seen a lot of people say they want a striker as well. I think we have a lot of attackers to sort out. Obviously, striker would be great. Maybe Broya is going to be fit again. That you have Fofana in there. You have Nkunku coming in. I know that he's not necessarily a striker, but he's another attacking player. So I think like if I'm focusing on just like two positions, find a goalkeeper, find a DM, spend on that, and try to clear out as much as possible because you have so many players coming back. We really, really, really need to trim the squad because we can't go into next season with the same amount of players that we had this season. It's just insane. Did you guys see as well that it seems like Thiago Silva might leave Chelsea? And I don't know why I thought I saw somewhere that he had signed an extension. Maybe I'm making that up, but I thought like a couple of months ago he had signed an extension, and then now it seems like maybe he might leave Chelsea at the end of the season. And I'd be so glad to see him leave, but I mean he's 38 going on 39 already, so it's pretty freaking crazy playing career. Um, so yeah, like I think we should just all focus on Chelsea women for the rest of the season. Obviously, in the FA Cup final, and they're in pole position to win the league yet again as well. So that would be super, super exciting if we could end the season with two more trophies. And I just like believe in Sam Kerr and Emma Hayes to do that. So I don't really have many other thoughts about this game, to be honest. It was another lackluster performance by Chelsea, but I don't really have many other expectations at this point in the season. Now that we're officially safe from relegation, and I'm just looking forward to next season already, to preseason, to having time with these players and hopefully getting things right and like starting next season off strong. So sorry again for my dog if he's been bothersome. He's suffering so much with his little cone. But thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day, evening, whatever time you're watching this. And until next time, I'm out. Bye.